Welcome to STEAM State of Mind, your favorite source for all things STEAM education.
STEAM State of Mind.
This isn't just science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. It's a state of mind, a different way to approach education in the classroom.
STEAM State of Mind.
Enjoy these conversations with educators, students, and community members as we explore what it means to be in a STEAM state of mind.
STEAM State of Mind.
Hi, this is Kari coming to you from Kettering.
And I'm Bern.
And this is the STEAM State of Mind podcast. Thanks for joining us.
All right, Kari, we're actually sitting in a closet. I mean, literally sitting in a closet at Fairmont High School, recording a podcast with an amazing teacher and 4 of her students. And we are enjoying every minute of it.
Absolutely. I think we had more fun leading up to this than maybe we will doing it, but we're going to try to have some fun with that
I think
too.
we can laugh some more. It'll
Absolutely.
be fine. So I'm really excited because this is our first time really getting into the high school level with our STEAM podcast. And so I would like to introduce Erin. She is an amazing teacher who has just received some awards and done some great things here at Fairmont High School. And we found out we're sitting in a room that will not exist next year because they are even expanding our program in our room and stuff like that. So Erin, will you please just give us a little bit of your background? You know, how did you get into teaching? What led you to Fairmont? And a little bit about the program.
Sure. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you all are here visiting our storage closet. As you said, this won't be here next year. What's really cool is that the district is supporting the Biotech CTC program and expanding us into the locker bay next door. So we will have the area for our students to be able to do more science, which is always fun. My background, I actually am a Fairmont alumni. I graduated back in 2001. And so I found my way back to Fairmont because I started here. And prior to becoming a teacher, I worked, first I went to college. I got my master's degree from University of Cincinnati in immunology. And then I worked from there in some research and development labs, including a lab in Covington, Kentucky, where we're working on a brain tumor drug.
Ooh.
And that drug is now in clinical trials. So that's really exciting.
Oh, that's neat.
If anybody wants to go look that up, it's a company called Bexian Pharmaceuticals, and they're doing some really neat work. After that, I was fortunate enough to get into teaching. I'd always want to be a teacher, but I kind of thought I missed that boat because I went a different direction completely. There's another career tech center, Miami Valley CTC, up in Englewood, Ohio, and they had an opening for their biotechnology position to teach that program. And so prior to coming to Fairmont, I taught at Miami Valley CTC for 5 years. And then 2 years ago, Mandy Van Dyke, who is the biotechnology teacher here at Fairmont, retired. And she said, hey, interested in coming back to Fairmont? You know, she had said that along the way, like, maybe someday this could be where you end up. And I said, maybe. I don't know. I just started teaching. Let's see where it goes. And it just worked out to come back to Fairmont. It's been really exciting being here. Last year was definitely different, right? People were here. People weren't here. Mass, no mass, all of that kind of stuff happening. I did let my students know, though, that they couldn't get me lost in the building because I had been here before. So that was good, except the wrestling gym. That was new. But it's been fun to be back as a teacher. I just have fun. I think it's cool. We get to do science. We get to learn. We mess things up all the time. So that's good. My students are in here laughing.
Students are all laughing, yes.
Yes.
And pointing to themselves strangely.
Right. I don't know if that's like a self-admission there. I don't know. But, you know, in here in the biotech lab, it's all about we fail a lot, but we're not failing to learn. We're learning as we go. And I always tell them that's the best way to learn is by failing. And if it doesn't work the first time in the lab, we definitely need to try again. So,
well, we are going to get into that whole FAIL thing here in a minute because
first attempt in learning, right?
Yeah, that's really what learning is all about. But first of all, I knew I loved Mandy Van Dyke for something, and
she's pretty cool.
She's a pretty awesome lady.
It's her fault I'm a teacher.
Thanks for her for bringing you to Fairmont.
She kept bugging me before I became a teacher too.
That's great.
So,
well,
that's
I'm
awesome.
glad.
It's good stuff.
Way to go, Mandy.
I miss her.
Listening.
She's good.
And this must be your calling because you were just certified recently as a distinguished modern classroom educator, which is a pretty awesome thing and fits right in with the whole kind of STEAM state of mind that we've been talking about on these podcasts. So tell us, what does it mean to be a modern classroom educator?
So, Modern Classrooms Project, I came across that on the Twitterverse of teachers when I was trying to find the words. I guess I needed the words to explain how I teach. So people kept asking me my style. I'm like, I don't know what my style is. Like, we just do stuff. It's hands-on, we're learning as we go. And being someone who likes to learn, I kind of was out there trying to do some research and came across MCP. And the Distinguished Modern Classroom Educator means that you're a teacher that's working to put in kind of self-paced, mastery-based learning in your classroom. And it was a certification that I got to earn. I got to try and make some of those lessons in that style and implement those in my classroom. And so I've kind of been experimenting. It's biotech, right? We do experiments in here, sometimes with my students, right? Experimenting on them. And so what it means is that my students are able to really dive in and get to learn things versus just sitting in a chair and taking notes. We do take notes.
Sure.
Don't let me fool you on that. We do have to do that sometimes. And then we get to take what we learn in those notes and we get to apply that in the classroom and get messy.
Well, that's awesome. You know what? Let's introduce these great students that we have sitting here. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves to our podcast audience so they know who they're hearing from?
Hello, I'm Graylin Fitzpatrick.
Hi, I'm Katie Babel, and I'm a senior.
I'm Mason Cole, and I'm a senior.
I'm Zoe Kettner, and I'm a senior here at Fairmont.
I forgot to mention I'm a senior.
So they're all seniors.
Senior lab.
And this is what's so cool about when your teacher was talking, you guys are nodding your head like, okay, she's just not giving us lip service. This is really true. And you guys seem to all agree and enjoy, this type of teaching and stuff. But so I'm curious about, why did you guys choose to be part of this class? Because this is a choice, right? You don't have to take, this isn't like a requirement. This is a choice. So why in the world would you choose to be part of this class? I'm curious.
I mean, so I want to join this class because I knew that I always wanted to do something with chemistry related. And it's actually kind of funny because this class reminds me a lot of the 5th grade class that you taught me.
It's a lot of that is so cool.
It's a lot of hands-on stuff, and I remember like the STAR group, I think, and where we'd go and we'd do stuff and we'd learn. And I think this is a very relatable thing because I want to go into chemical engineering and being able, especially junior year. Junior year was probably the best one for me because it was a lot of learning all this new stuff. Like senior year is still awesome. Don't kid yourself. But junior year, learning the stuff, learning how to use the machines, learning about the different reaction stuff. It was pretty cool. So I would definitely, if you have any interest, please check this out. It's awesome.
Okay, I did not tell him to say that. Okay, I was trying to not show favoritism or anything like that, but that is really cool.
We just set you up for a walk down memory lane today.
We did, and it's a good memory lane. All right.
Right. I decided to join biotechnology because all my life I've always had an interest in science and in helping people. But I never really wanted to talk to the people that I was helping, so I really didn't want to join allied health, and plus that CTC is way too competitive for me to get into. So I decided, you know what, I want to do biotech because I've always loved science, I always loved biology, it's my favorite subject still even today. And being in this class has allowed me to channel what I really wanted to do because we do almost different labs from almost every single topic in biotechnology, from microbiology to immunology to just studying animals to growing plants to making bacteria glow in the dark. It's really fun.
And raising brine shrimp.
And raising brine shrimp.
We're gonna get into that here in a minute.
And so we get to learn so much. And also through this class, I was able to gain an internship at the Lions Eye Bank of West Central Ohio, which I actually want to work there when I graduate high school because it's so fun there and I enjoy it so much.
That's great.
Wow, that is so cool. Okay, who would like to go next? I mean, we've got some amazing answers here.
Yeah, I decided to join biotech because I actually didn't know I had a lot of interest in science growing up. And then freshman year, I took the required biology credit, and I was like, man, this is really cool. And I noticed that I was really interested in it way more than people in my class were. And I was like, man, I really think I like this more than most people do. And then I took chemistry, and then I kind of realized that, like, I really love science, and I really want to do something. And I've always been like a math person. So I was like, this is kind of making sense now. And so my counselor at the time, Tara Shirk, Mrs. Shirk in Central, she heard that I was liking science. And so I was talking to her about classes for junior year. And she was like, oh, you should do the biotech program. And I was like, oh, like I'd never really heard of it. I'd seen posters about it in the school, but like I'd never really heard about it. And so she introduced me to Miss Van Dyke, and they talked to me, and like I kind of got to come in and tour the classroom because I was really back and forth because there was like a lot of things about like, oh, everybody tells you like, oh, you want to get like your like official credits in for college. And so that's what's going to help you more in college. And Mrs. Shirk was kind of like, this is going to help you like hands-on learning.
Right.
And if I had the chance to make the decision again, I would have done the same thing. I feel like biotech just really offers a hands-on and like there present learning instead of just like, here I'm taking notes, I'm learning about this, but like, oh, you'll probably learn about it in college too, but man, so here's it for right now. Like biotech really offers that full in-depth description of science within itself and the biotech field.
So it's like real world application,
Yeah, for sure.
problem solving, figuring
Yes.
out, because I've heard that you guys have had some deaths
Yeah.
in here with some of your shrimp, and you guys are very good at killing them. It could be a rumor, but that's what I've heard.
Brine shrimp are supposedly the most indestructible creatures in the world, but considering that my group has killed them about 20 times,
Yeah.
just trying
So-
to get them to live.
Can we chat about that a little bit? Tell us about, because I will tell you, Mrs. Moulton was very excited when she brought us in to show us the live shrimp, but she also told us that
I did point those out.
it is March, and you've been doing this for a long time, so there have been quite a few that haven't made it. So tell us about that project.
So for our project, our senior research project, we decided to use brine shrimp to like test out how they would respond to different heats and see if like climate change would have any impact on them, because they're known as being like indestructible. They've been around for millions of years. So they really haven't changed that much either, and they live in like really high salinities too. So they're pretty tough, and we wanted to see how they would do in temperatures at like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And so initially we started out with fish tanks for them, and we like the ones above us.
Oh, you mean
right
those
there.
5 empty fish tanks?
Yes.
I don't think they used all of them, but there were
used
several
two
out
of them.
there. Yeah.
And we like set them up like we were gonna have goldfish, and then that really didn't work out. And we thought, we think this is way too fishy. We can't we're setting this up for like actual fish and not shrimp. And so we had to change the setup a lot of times. We had to do multiple side experiments to test like how they respond to different things like light. We figured out that you shouldn't stick them in a closet because they don't like it and they will die in 2 days.
They did not survive that.
Yeah, they did. We figured out that they don't like yeast, so don't feed them yeast either.
Well, this is what I really love to hear, is that we figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, the teacher didn't tell you.
Yeah.
You didn't read it completely out of a book. You did it through experimentation, and you remember these things that didn't work, the failures that you've had. But, I know we said the first attempt in trying, or, failure or whatever, first attempt in learning. Well, it sounds like you were, on your umpteenth time figuring it out. But, but that is what's really cool about STEAM education, having a STEAM state of mind, is that you guys are talking about integrating, like math and science, but it sounds like you're engineering and you're integrating things into this problem solving and figuring things out for yourself and not just being told. And you guys are excited about it. I can tell you're excited about it. And so I know you guys are having success now. We've got a bunch of living ones out there too, right? Right.
Yeah.
So
We have
can you
plenty
tell
of
us?
live ones.
We kind of missed you on
We
why
got too
did
excited
you
about the
choose?
shrimp.
We did,
Can I ask a
yes.
really quick question about the shrimp, though? Are those the same shrimp that are in Happy Feet? Are those brine shrimp? Do you guys know the movie with the
penguins?
The penguins?
I don't.
You might be
I think so.
dating yourself too.
I might.
Because Happy Feet.
I mean, I know
You
that
knew what
movie.
I was
It's like the
talking
animated
about.
one, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
never seen Happy Feet?
I love Happy Feet, but I didn't know if it was, I don't know how old it is, because sometimes I mention a movie to teenagers and they're like, what? I've
But I
never
think
heard of that before.
I
I'm
will
like,
be
oh my
Googling
God.
that when we're finished. If that,
I think that's
those are
where it
brine
ends
shrimp.
after this year. That's where you won't know.
Okay. No more Happy Feet.
You can
Yeah.
ask the juniors; they probably won't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So why did you go to bio?
Actually, this wasn't necessarily my first choice. Kind of my third, but I really wanted to help people.
Honesty. Love it.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful I got into this CTC because it also is competitive. My initial one was allied health. I still want to pursue, but I wanted to pursue physical therapy, and I'm very grateful that I got to do the CTC because I've learned a lot, and learned a lot more about anatomy. We've done med terminology. We don't just like stop right here. We expand a little bit more where it might be useful to like other people who,
So now I do want to say CTC stands for Career Tech Center, just in case somebody out there doesn't
Yes.
know
Oh, yeah.
what CTC is.
Sorry.
We've said it so
We
many
do love-
times.
we do
Yeah,
love-
We
yeah. Like,
better
what
say
is?
that.
Yeah, that's
We
part
do
of the
love our
educational
acronyms.
alphabet soup.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still learning
Acronym
that.
alphabet soup. Yeah.
I'm still learning that. I was going to say too. I'm going to piggyback off of Graylin here. A lot of my students in here and out there, whether biotech was their first choice or not, what's neat about the CTC is that students can come in and try it. And if they learn like, wow, this is really cool, I want to do this. Like Zoe, who's going to go work at the eye bank. Katie also works at the eye bank. Graylin works at the Community Tissue Center here in Kettering. So they can try things out. And then I've had students go and they're like, Molden, not to be, I don't want to hurt your feelings or anything, but like I've decided this is not my gig and I'd like to go major in history when I go to college. That's absolutely fine because they've learned how to problem solve, they've learned how to work with others, they've learned how to critically think, and they've also learned how to make a really big decision in I don't have to do what people are expecting me to do. I can take what I've learned and then do what's right for me. And so I have a lot of students out there. I think Hamza's out there, and he started in biotech and then is now thinking fire science, physical therapy, things like that. And so what's neat about being a career tech student is that students get the opportunity to try things and see if it works for them.
Try what you want to do and be for free. Is
Absolutely.
Is
Yes.
our
That
motto
is,
here,
that is
for
our
sure.
motto. Yep.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Mrs. Molden said, when I joined biotech, I thought I wanted to do forensic science. And now sitting here in March as a senior, that is not really what I want to do. And during my time here in biotechnology, I feel like 25 doors have opened of other science fields that I'm like fascinated with. And I'm like, maybe I want to do that. And so I like my knowledge of the opportunities that there are is so much bigger than it was when I entered this room 2 years ago, because I now know what's out there and how many like unique biotech job fields there are that like you never would have thought of. Like if you would have told me a year ago I would have been interning at a eye donation bank, I would have told you, what is that? Like I would have been pretty lost. So I feel like this program just incorporates like the best parts of problem solving and like wider knowledge of what's out there in the real world, as people like to say to high schoolers, the real world is what's to come. So I feel like this is like such an amazing opportunity for preparation for that.
And I mean, going off of that, like when I first came in here, I honestly had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something with science, obviously, but there's all kinds of things. Like I wanted to be a forensic psychologist. And that ended up going out the window real quick because it was.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that was a thing, and then Miss Moulton brought up ballistics, which did sound pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, because something about like figuring out, what happened at a murder scene. I don't know, kind of interested me.
Yeah, that is.
Might sound weird, but it was kind of cool. It gets better. So,
I wasn't sure what that was for a second, and then I caught on.
So then, I kind of went back to my roots, chemistry. Gotta love chemistry. But I'm a very hands-on person. I cannot sit and learn.
I remember.
From
Reverting back.
I can't sit
At least
there
you're
and
true
learn.
to yourself,
I
Yeah,
can't
that's
sit
awesome.
and learn from a board.
Yeah.
For like 2 hours, like when I go to my math class at Sinclair, it's just 2 hours of looking at a board and writing stuff down and then doing it for homework. It's copy and paste every single day. So I think the hands-on is what really got me to the chemical engineering side. And to be honest, I'm sure I might flip-flop a few more times because I really don't know what I want to do.
It's really okay.
But yeah,
Absolutely
It's
okay.
And I've been
absolutely
told
okay.
that by so many people, Miss Moulton included. And something else that was really cool is we're doing a Sinclair. It's like a Sinclair class in addition to biotech, which is helping us with all sorts of different things like resumes, cover letters, just all around good. What is it? Kind of like education on job, interviews. So that it's kind of cool because you get more out of it than you think. Even if you go into it's biotech, and we're learning stuff about how to interview. That's cool. So that's something that
Gotta
I
get
think,
a job someday.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the integration of everything together because
Right.
it is
That's what
all
STEAM
part of it.
education is all about.
That is the STEAM state of mind that I really want to promote out there. And I know that since we have the students here, and this is so cool how you guys are so energetic about this, I want to say, well, first thing is that we have 3 females in here who are really interested in the science fields. And that is no offense. No offense. He's my former student.
Let's go.
So he's great.
Mason can join celebrating women in
Mason, yeah.
science too. That's
Yes.
totally
Yeah,
fine.
Mason
But-
is
He's
so
doing
women
a fist
empowerment.
pump for women too, so that's
But
awesome.
one of
Women in science.
my and just so you guys know, one of my major goals in doing the STEAM, being a STEAM coach now and doing STEAM education, is to promote more of the science and technology and engineering fields and mathematical fields for the female population, because it's proven, not in the males or whatever, but it's proven that the females, by the time they hit 6th grade, they already kind of have a mindset of where they want to go in their careers. And if they're not exposed to a lot of these sciences and mathematical careers, stuff like that before then, we kind of lose a big percentage of it. So I'm really excited that you guys were able to do this. Now, the man's mind develops a little slower, which we all know. I'm a male, so I can say that.
I
And
can attest to that as well.
yes. And so they've got a little more time in junior high to do that. But I think it's exciting, and it's a testament to your teaching too.
Thanks. We have fun. I was going to ask you guys something, and I forget what it is. Oh, will you each go through and tell us what your senior projects were? We talked about Zoe's, which is the brine shrimp. Okay, so Mason, what you and Will were working on? What were you working on?
So me and my partner Will are working on, I should say, what greens to give a bearded dragon. So I think 2 years ago, around Christmas, I got a bearded dragon because I'd always wanted a lizard, and I was really lost for the first 9 months on what to feed this thing. I'm sitting there and I'm trying all these different things, and I narrowed it down to 2 greens, which are collard greens and mustard greens. So I figured as a fun senior project, we might as well find out what a preference would be, because all animals are weird. I mean, some dogs even like certain brands of food. I don't know how they can tell because I can't taste it, but it is what it is. So we were testing between store-bought greens and homegrown greens, microgreens for the homegrown part, which was actually another cool kind of spin-off of that, because we weren't just growing greens, we were figuring out what these microgreens are, which is basically the baby version of the fully grown plant, and it has more nutrition in it, and it grows I think 3 times faster than the normal thing. It's amazing. And as we were going through it, we were working with Mr. Fogg down in the CAP building, and he was extremely informative, because every step of the way, if we had a question, he knew exactly how to answer it. And we our first batch died. So not nearly as bad as the brine shrimp.
It was not as tragic as the brine shrimp, but still
it
sad.
will never
yes.
I mean, it was
be.
still about 50,000 seeds. So
Yeah.
What ended up? It was like mold or something, maybe.
Yep, it was all mold, which I'm
okay.
actually allergic to. So that was even more fun to deal with.
Just learning.
So we replanted, overcame that challenge. That was actually a really funny time because we were kind of with this approach of, we'll see what happens. We'll let it go. And if the mold gets too bad, we'll, scrap it and we'll try again. And, we ended up having to do that. So the second time went by a lot smoother. We knew what we were doing. And as I was giving this to my bearded dragon, I kind of also noticed that he is a very, very picky dragon because if he is like, if I just give him the store-bought greens, he's fine. He's happy. He doesn't flatten out like a pancake with the spikes poofed out. But as soon as I gave him those microgreens, he was like livid. Like he looked at me. I put them in his bowl, and he looked at me and was like, "What is this? This doesn't look right." So, granted, the data could be a little skewed because of that, and I'm sure
a not willing participant. He missed the informed consent.
He's a picky boy.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool because now I actually am a lot more informed about this. And I didn't, thank God we didn't have to deal with like protein because crickets are a nightmare. I don't know how to measure them, but the greens were pretty cool because now I know just to stick with store-bought. Which it's a lot more
totally
simple.
fine.
It's all about making your pet happy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, all right, what about you?
So my lab partner and I, Brianna, our project involved purifying water. So we went to a local hiking trail and gathered water from a creek. Tried to get the most authentic water. So we walked pretty far out, probably knee deep, and harvested it was a gallon of water, I think. And then we separated it and performed 6 different tests on it. And what we were kind of looking for was in the real world where there's places that don't have as many they don't have as much access to clean water as we do here. How could they get the cleanest water, the cheapest, the most accessible, the easiest, what doesn't take long? How can they do that so it's easiest for them and just is easy to distribute across wherever it is that they can't get water. So we boiled the water, we used UV light, we used water purification tablets, we used a life straw, we used a Brita filter, and we used a coffee filter. And then from that, we swabbed the water on agar plates, which are plates that grow bacteria, to kind of see how much bacteria the water would grow. And we also swabbed drinking water to compare, just a bottle of water. And what we found is that the boiling did best, which is what the CDC said. And we also found some other stuff that we didn't expect was that the Brita filter did second best, and the life straw did not do very well. So it was super interesting to learn about that. And so even though we kind of have our answers, there's still more questions about what if we did boiling and a coffee filter? Or what if we did Brita filter and a coffee filter? Or how is there ways that we could combine it so that this could help solve a real world problem as to can people get clean water wherever they are? So
it's a hugely important issue right now across our world.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So my drinking straw that somebody gave me, what is a purification straw or whatever, they're supposed to just stick in
throw
the
it
water.
away.
You can drink it. Sounds like I should just throw it away.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question though. With the life straw, you're supposed to just stick it down and slurp it like a straw, but they had to engineer this because they're trying to plate it to see if bacteria are growing. So
So
you don't want to suck up and spit it out.
Yes, our answers are probably not 100% reliable because we had to.
There were some variables in there that you
engineer
couldn't
because
control.
we didn't want to suck it up into our mouths because we didn't want our mouths to
Right.
contaminate our sample. So we had to engineer this straw that we had to like connect to the top of the actual
We
life
found
straw.
some pipettes or something in
Yeah,
here.
and we
some
like broke
tape
off
or
the top
whatever.
of them and like taped them, and
was
then
fun
we
to
had
watch.
to dump it out. So honestly, I think that would be something that we would try to do again to kind of get more
Okay,
accurate
I'm
results.
interested.
You could probably still keep your life straw.
Yes,
You're
do-
probably
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
For now.
Okay. For now.
now.
All right.
To be continued.
Keep me updated.
Our group, Tabby and Lillian, we decided to do our project on cat and dog mouths, how much bacteria they grow, which one's dirtier. Cat mouths are dirtier.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
In their research, that's what they found.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they like
It
themselves
might
a
not
lot.
be, in another situation, it might be something different, but that's what you guys
It might,
found.
yeah. So we had 6 cats, 6 dogs. We swabbed them before every meal. 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and then we grew them. We stained them, and we identified, or the best we could, because we didn't purely culture. There, we had a lot of mistakes, but
That's
we
okay.
Learning opportunities
learning
is what she meant to
opportunities. What
say.
this is all
we should have
about. The opportunity to learn something new.
we should have purely cultured some of the colonies that we did stain and put on slides, but then we did a really good job at just looking for like researching as we found out and went along. We did very good at like trying to like, oh, maybe we can do this better, that better. What else?
There's a lot of problem solving.
There was a lot.
Well, and it sounds like all of
and-
you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. We did figure out that gram positive and gram negative bacteria, they thrive in like wet and dry environments. Which one was it specifically? I forget. I think is it gram negative that it thrives in?
I think they can be in both.
They can be in both, but that could have to do with what they eat. Like cats, they usually eat wet food. There are dogs, but like there could have been a lot more variables to that. But that's what we came up with.